Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. This is your video Rotary Razz for June 7 of 2022. While I have helped in the past with setup for the Pork Burger fundraiser, I have never been able to fully appreciate all of the work, strategy, and organization that went into the project as a whole. I was humbled and absolutely impressed with the smoothness of the day. I have three specific memories that jump out about that Pork Burger day. One, I enjoyed very much the fact that East Noble's Interact Club had 4 members that showed up and stayed for almost the whole day helping out. They were very efficient. They were fun to have a conversation with. I was a bit bewildered by the 2 women that were there. I offered them a breakfast pork burger. They denied it. The guys took theirs, and I just figured, well, the girls weren't hungry. 20 minutes later, they headed to McDonald's to have a potato cake and some kind of pastry. My second memory of the day was standing back and watching Dave and Jenna at work. I finally had a glimpse into the preparation that it takes to get this thing accomplished. It was amazing. But my third and favorite part was the snafu. That thing that always pops up, that little pebble in the shoe that could potentially ruin the perfect plan. But it's like true Rotarians in the way we are. We took that moment and improvised, adapted, and overcame and solved the problem, leaving us yet with another nugget to be told at future pork burger extravaganzas. For those of you who were not there, this is the way I saw it. I was amazed to see how quickly all of the burgers were finished and put into the coolers. I think the guys were done by 9 o'clock, and then they started cleaning up the grills. The efficiency, the dedication, the organization, impeccable. An hour or so later, I noticed Dave Hunter and some other fellow Rotarians going through the garbage. I didn't think much about it because, well, we're Rotarians. But then I saw that they were picking out of the trash empty pork burger boxes that you see circled here. And while I would not describe the pork burger boxes as gaudy, I would say that they would be difficult to miss. But miss them we did. Dave started doing the math, counting empty boxes, counting cooked burgers, counting burgers we've already sold, counting the buns. By the way, I have a bun story to tell you here in a few minutes. But with mathematical certainty, he concluded that we had way too many buns for the few burgers that we still had left to sell. This set off a bit of a panic because the question became, do we have enough burgers for the pre-sale orders remaining? So a few of us took down the signs advertising pork burgers, hoping that the drive-through crowd would notice it and then just pass by. By some miracle, another Rotarian, who is nameless to me at this moment, discovered a series of pork burger boxes that were yet to be cooked. So, Dave, being the manager that he is, asked a few people if they could go home with a box or 2, cook them up, and bring them back. A series of Rotarians did just that, and all ended well. Terry Householder finished the selling portion of the day by buying up the last 9 pork burgers. From there, it was cleanup time and heading to RJ's to count the money. But before I get to that, I must tell you the bun story. I've come to know and understand and appreciate Jenna Anderson. She's efficient at what she does. She exudes confidence and is very likable. But I also understand that she is being guided by Dave Hunter to take over this pork burger thing next year. As a result, she might be feeling a little bit of pressure. Anyone who is a leader, and Jenna is certainly that, comes up with solutions to problems or potential problems. She strives to do her best. She has a plan. She has the vision of how this fundraiser should look. And that includes how buns are distributed. Unknown to me at the time, there were 3 production areas. The 2 in red deal with pre-sales, including pickup and delivery. The last one is drive-through, where people driving by might pull in if they see pork burgers are being sold. I was working the drive-through with a series of other people. My mentality at the time was that a bun was a bun was a bun. Jenna explained with enthusiasm that no, There are pickup and delivery buns, and then there's the rest, and never the twain shall meet. The assertiveness with which she said this caught her by surprise. It was a funny moment, but I picked up on the fact that pickup and delivery are the most important because they've been promised their order, and we certainly want return customers next year. So they are indeed higher on the bun hierarchy. Rest assured, I will revisit this conversation with Jenna at next year's Pork Burger fundraiser. So, after everything was cleaned up, a series of Rotarians headed over to RJ's place to count the money. A table was set up on the Roost's porch. Darylyn had some finger snacks for us. The refrigerator was stocked with various sorts of drinks, and those with monetary acumen surrounded the table and started counting. What I found interesting is that Larry Doyle sat back away from the money table while he sipped on a beverage. It was either a testimony as to how much he trusted the people who were counting the money or the fact that he was totally whacked and just needed to chill. Well, eventually the numbers were crunched and the unofficial net profit is what you see on the screen. $6,804.45. I am not certain how the 45 cents figures in. Those counting the money will have to explain that. The main attraction for our meeting tonight was the presence of some East Noble students who are current members of the Interact Club. In attendance would be the following: Ryan Norden, Rachel Hand, Addie Dills, Drew Silloway, and Darby Johnson. Ryan Ogle is a current East Noble High School teacher who is the Interact Club sponsor. And Ryan Norden was the Interact Club member who attended the RYLA Weekend Leadership Conference. Before we get to Ryan's presentation about his RYLA experience, he was accompanied by 3 other people from East Noble High School who are part of the Interact Club. To his left, you have Drew Silloway, followed by Rachel Hand and Addie Dills. And Ryan gave a very professional presentation, and I'll let his words speak for themselves.
This was actually one of the best talks they gave, and I really wasn't expecting it. This is Max Alexander and Eric Bieber. They're talking. They are 2 business leaders that are like in their 20s, and they are a lot of money. They're very, very successful men, and they actually started their Interact Club at Carroll High School and Northrup High School, and the first meeting for the Carroll High School Interact Club had 400 kids. For reference, we have about 15. Okay, they did a lot at Carroll, and he gave me a lot of ideas for things we can do at our Interact Club, and specifically about how Rotary can help us at Interact to do things that we find important. It's called the sticky snake, and basically you have this rope. It's got 3 knots, and our job is to get those 3 knots untangled. But as soon as you touch the rope, you can't let go. So you're stuck like that. And you can't touch the tongue of the snake, the end, or everybody loses too. So it was really difficult because you have to plan like 5 moves ahead about how you're gonna untangle this rope. And it was a way where we could like try to figure out how to like work with each other, and we found that it was a lot easier to have like one person kind of tell everybody what to do rather than have everybody just yell at each other. A lot, and I don't even have everything we did up there. We also did Basket Brigade and Christmas Bureau this year, but we did a lot of stuff with Rotary, which I really enjoyed. I think that was really successful with us working with Cause for a Cause, with us doing pork burgers, even the dog washing in the fall. Those were things that we can do. We can get our name out there, help more in the community, but also be getting more kids involved. So I don't know if you like have any grandkids, kids, nieces, nephews, anything like that are at the high school that want to join next year, but please let them know that this is something that we do that's really a big deal, and we do a lot, but we can always use more kids. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for supporting our Interact Club. I know you guys budget out money for us every year, and it really does help. It helped us buy blankets this year, and it's helped us buy dog toys, Christmas Bureau, Thanksgiving families, all that stuff in the past. And thank you for sending me to RYLA and helping me learn more about leadership and that kind of thing. And hopefully, I'm sure you'll continue to see me next year. I'll be a senior, so I'll work some more with Rotary and Interact. and hopefully that's the community. So thank you so much.
To help promote Interact and the work that you're doing?
So I think a big thing is next year we're going to be doing with Ricky's going to stay in contact with us and that kind of thing. I think we're going to help more with you guys, but then I think also advertising it, letting kids know that we're doing that kind of thing. Just you guys have been very supportive in the past, so I think you should just keep doing what you're doing, I guess. And I don't know, I guess being open to having us help.
How often does the group meet?
So Interact meets minimum once a month, and during AL. However, like with the Stuffed Animal Blanket Drive, we had to meet pretty frequently to get that going and that kind of thing organized. So in like situations like that, we'll meet once a week, I think.
So at your events at this camp, how in the world are you able not to talk for 45 minutes?
My mother asked the same thing. It's very difficult, very difficult. But we did it, so I guess that's the big thing. And they even, when they were doing like certain games, they would target, well, they targeted me because I can't shut up. So they would say, Ryan, you have to be quiet, you have to stop talking. And then make the other people around us that weren't talking as much, getting involved, they would make sure that they were speaking up and being involved too. So I guess it was a way of...
It was great to have these 4 young people at our meeting. These were the same 4 that spent the lion's share of the day selling pork burgers with the Rotary Club a week or so ago. One of my goals for next year is to have 1 or 2 East Noble Interact students join us once a month to share ideas about what we can do as a group to make the world a better place. And now for the regular meeting. We stood up for the pledge and for the prayer. We ate and we socialized and we sang. The song Smile was led by our famous crooner Glenn Bontrager. A few guests were introduced. RJ introduced Sam Seibert, formerly of Camp Bell and Fetter, and Jenna Anderson introduced Denise Landers of Crossroads United Way. We hope they enjoyed the meeting. Dave Hunter told the story of the Pork Burger Day. The weather was terrific and everything was organized until it was discovered that some pork burgers seemed to be missing. This was mentioned earlier in the Razz, but some new truths came to light. A full case that contained 144 burgers went unnoticed while in plain sight. Dave happened to see Jim Jansen, otherwise known as the Pork Burglar, attempting to purchase one of the packages of 12 burgers. It was then that there was a mad scramble to have everyone who could go home and cook them up, bring them back, and sell them to the public. We also learned that the final tally was not the $6,804 and some odd cents and change, but rather $8,750. Whether that is the official count, I cannot be sure, but it is certainly impressive. Kristen Johnson announced that there will be an antique roadshow from 12 noon to 2 p.m. June 11, that is this Saturday, downtown at the Hostler Realty Building. I didn't catch all the particulars, but the focus of the whole event is the history of Kendallville. RJ was in charge of a bunch of stuff, starting with introducing his guest, but also of selling raffle tickets. Larry Doyle ended up winning second place, winning $3, and Jerry Jansen won $7. Neither of the two won the pot of $164. There were a series of fines handed out by RJ. First of all, for people who were late, I think Glenn and Larry were late. Donna's table as a whole were each fined $1 for failing to introduce their guest, Jim Jansen. Jim, by the way, offered a brag buck indicating that he's joining the Rotary Club of his new hometown in Tucson. Other fines included those who failed to work at the Pork Burger Fest. Larry was fined for something dealing with COVID, I'm not really sure, but also the fact that there was a lost check left in his truck. It has since been found. It was mentioned in passing that Flint and Walling gave above and beyond their pork burger order to the club for the purpose of increasing the scholarship money. Tom Burke mentioned that he could not show up to the pork burger sales because he was dealing with some medical issues, so he offered $20 to the club as well for the scholarship purpose. There was one more brag buck by Terry Gaff. He missed the pork burger sales because he was attending his daughter's graduation where she received her PhD from MIT. Congratulations. And looking at my notes, I failed to mention an announcement by Larry Doyle earlier in this video that the reversal raffle made a profit of $4,500. And I do believe that's it for the Razz. If I missed anything, let me know. Please watch to the end of the video because you'll see some KPC News press for Kendallville Rotary and its current governor, Jane Roush. But first, we must end with RJ's last duty of the evening, and that is to give the four-way test.
Hey, RJ. Oh, yes.
These kids are inspirational. It really makes me think really hard about words for the week. And it's just, whatever you do in life, make sure you give 100%. Unless you're giving blood. And with that, we all please rise and join with me in the four-way test of the day. Say,
fair to all concerned, will build goodwill and better friendships, will be beneficial to all concerned.
So I will